March is finally over. It has been such a long and stressful month, and I'm glad I could just put it behind me. Thankfully, I got so much reading done, so if you want to know what books I read last month, you can go check out my last video, which was my monthly wrap-up March 2020 edition. But if you do decide to stay, then welcome, and today I will be discussing my April TBR. I have a goal to read 50 books this year, which is a lot less than last year, but last year I made the mistake of giving myself way too many books to read and overwhelming myself. So this year I lowered the amount of books by a lot so that I can just give myself a chance to breathe. I'm at 9 books so far, and hopefully my April TBR will bring me up to 17 out of my 50 books. The first book on my April TBR, which is actually on my March TBR, I started in March but I'm finishing in April, and that is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. If you haven't seen my Bookstagram, I posted this everywhere, but I'm doing a Harry Potter readathon and I'm on the 4th book in the Harry Potter series, Goblet of Fire. But to quickly summarize what Goblet of Fire is about, it's about Harry Potter wanting to get away from his horrible relatives, the Dursleys, whom he lives with, and he wants to go to the Quidditch World Cup with his friends Hermione, Ron, and the Weasleys. He also wants to find out about a mystery rival between 2 schools and a competition that hasn't happened for hundreds of years. The next book on my TBR is the 5th book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling. So far, The Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite out of the series, but I think Order of the Phoenix has potential to replace Prisoner of Azkaban as my favorite. Order of the Phoenix follows Harry, who is not only faced with his owl exams, a new teacher with a venomous personality, a house elf, and the growing threat of Voldemort, but is now faced with the unreliability of the government of the magical world and the ineffectiveness of the authorities at Hogwarts. The 3rd book on my April TBR is, you guessed it, the 6th book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I have heard of very few people who don't like this book, so I have very high expectations for it going into it, but I don't think I'll be disappointed. Half-Blood Prince is about the war against Voldemort, which is not going well, but as in all wars, life goes on. The 6th-year students are continuing their studies at Hogwarts, teenagers are falling in love, the classes are tough, but Harry gets help from the mysterious Half-Blood Prince. And all the while, Harry is searching for the story of the boy who became Lord Voldemort as to expose one of his vulnerabilities. The 4th book on my TBR is the final book in the Harry Potter series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. I'm not going to discuss what this book is about because I don't know what this book is about and I really want to be surprised, so I'm not going to talk about it. By the way, if you can't tell, this is my first time reading Harry Potter and I absolutely love it, and it is definitely one of my favorite series of all time now. Moving on from all the Harry Potter books, I promise I won't talk about Harry Potter anymore. The 5th book on my TBR is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. I actually have never read this book either, believe it or not. It was one of those classics when I was growing up. I didn't think I would like it, but as I've aged and matured like a fine wine, my taste in books has drastically changed, and I think now is a great time to read this book. A Wrinkle in Time is about a mysterious stranger beckoning Meg, her brother Charles, and their friend Calvin O'Keefe on a dangerous adventure. This adventure will threaten their lives and our universe. Sounds good to me. The 6th book on my TBR is the final book in the Queen of Hearts trilogy, War of the Cards by Colleen Oakes. This is an Alice in Wonderland Queen of Hearts spinoff, and it's really good. I finished the first 2 books, but for whatever reason I just didn't read the 3rd one until now. There will be spoilers in my description of this book, so if you are interested in reading this and don't want to be spoiled, then go ahead and skip ahead. War of the Cards is about Dinah, who has lost everything she loved. Her brother has been brutally murdered, the person she thought was her father has betrayed her, her loyal subjects have been devastated by war, and the only boy that she loved has broken her heart completely. Now fury is blooming in Dinah. All she has left is her crown, Wonderland, and her obsession to fight for both. The 7th book on my TBR is one that was actually on my March TBR, and I started it and I didn't like it, so I figured I would put it down and come back to it. And if you saw in my last video, I was actually really excited about this book, but it was a disappointment, and that is Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. Since I've already gone into great detail about what this book is about in my March TBR video, I'm not going to discuss it in this one, but if you want to know a detailed description of the book, go ahead and watch my March TBR. And the final book on my April TBR is The Night Country by Melissa Albert. Night Country is the sequel to The Hazelwood, also by Melissa Albert. I was not a huge fan of the Hazelwood. There was parts I liked and parts I didn't like. Overall, I gave it 2 stars. It was one of those books where I don't regret reading it, but I would never read it again. Hopefully, The Night Country will resolve some of my mixed feelings I have towards the Hazelwood, but my expectations aren't very high. If you haven't read the Hazelwood and are planning on going to, skip to the end of this video because there will be spoilers about both of these books. The Night Country follows Alice, who has escaped the hinterland with the help of Ellery Finch. Now her and the rest of the fairy tale creatures are washed up in New York City. Alice is trying to create a new, unmagical life. However, she discovers that something is stalking the hinterland survivors, and she suspects that their deaths may have a darker meaning. That was all the books on my April TBR. Let me know what book you are most excited about on your TBR. I am definitely most excited about finishing all the Harry Potter books. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe and stay tuned for Tuesday's video.